Green,
Yeah, we're good.
you good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, all right. So coming to this entire training, we'll be covering, uh, we will be introducing the firewalls to the folks, and I'll be teaching you what and all, how many kinds of firewalls and why the firewall is really needed to their organization. Why can't we use other than the firewall in the network? What is importance of the firewall? So before we go to see the learning, you should learn why and what. So basically, if you are going to the firewalls, first of all we wanted to understand why you need a firewall in the organization. If a firewall is not there in the network, and how do you manage, and what could have been happened if the firewall is not there? So that kind of topics we'll be covering mostly in the introduction part. And next, later on, I'll be teaching you how many types of firewalls are available in the market, and how do we use that, and how do we deploy, and what kind of a considerations we are going to take, and the what could be the requirement, and how do you choose a firewall. And I'll be covering you the hardware, and I will be covering you the bare metal appliance, and I'll be covering you the software deployment, software firewalls, all that in this section. And to be frankly speaking, everybody is eagerly waiting for what and all training topics we are going to cover for this entire training. So you can see here, I'll be introducing the firewall initial, as I said, before going to the initial content of the initial configuration of the firewall. First of all, we need to understand why the firewall, and for what reason firewall should be taken consideration in the networks. If firewall is not there, what can happen, and where do you place the firewall? That is major, very good. You need to have that understanding. And later on, within the topics, I'll be covering the routing part. I'll be covering the how the deployment methods, and because you can't bring the firewall into the network, you can't just connect and use it. So there will be a deployment methods based on the requirement. How do you, which deployment method you use it to understand and deploy your firewall, and how do we do the routing, how do we do the NAT policies, firewall policies. And when it comes to the layer 7 inspection, kind of deep inspection, how do you create your web application policies and application control, antivirus, and IPS profiles. Probably I did not mention, I'm sorry, don't worry, we are going each and every option in the Fortinet, everywhere in the Fortinet. Wherever your cursor moves, we'll be going to talk about it in the Fortinet, and we'll be doing on the labs. And as I said, we'll be talking about the virtual domains, and what's the importance of the virtual domains. Okay, and IPsec, VPNs, and remote access VPNs, all the requirements of the VPNs. We'll be deploying the VPN solution. I'll make you aware of the the core concept of the VPN, and why you choose IPsec VPN rather remote access VPN. What kind of a considerations and what situation you have to choose this solution, and how do you deploy your high availability, and deploying of your, as introducing your SD-WAN to manage your remote sites, and integration of your Forti manager, Forti analyzer. All that we are going to discuss during the training. Okay, so during the training, we'll be providing you the labs. And having said that, as I said, there will not be any PPT content. There will not be any more PPT contents during the sessions. I'll be teaching you a concept, and the same thing will be deploying in the labs, and make sure that everybody will get access to the labs, and you'll be executing the solutions. More than learning, understanding, going to the PPT, I would take everyone to the box and make you aware of what the requirement, and how do you solve that. And apart from the 17 or 16, some duplicates are there, I think so, in it. So one day, a complete one day session will be completely on the troubleshooting. I'll be taking into the packet level of Fortinet. I'll take you to the CLI debugging methods. How do you debug your traffic? We'll go through the scenarios of the content, scenarios of the problems, and how do you debug the traffic in the Fortinet. Once you debug the traffic, see, basically, if you go to the Google Fortinet debug commands, you will get a lot of a number of commands. But though you get the hundreds of commands, when you execute the debug, you should understand how do you read the debug, and how do you understand, how do you conclude the problem. That's where we are more discussing on the troubleshooting part. I'll be teaching you, I'll make you aware on the debugging part, troubleshooting especially. I'll teach you the packet flags, understand reading the packet flags, the sequence of the packets, everything in the during the sessions of the training, so that it will be very, very useful for you folks. This is not an L1 and L2 training. This is an L1, L2, and L3 training all together mixed up. You will have from scratch to unpacking the box and deploying the solution, configuring the policies, troubleshooting the issues, and fixing the issues. This is all we are going to cover during this training. Any questions? Clear? Okay. So having said that, so I'll be telling you the hardware considerations also when you want to introduce. For example, Mohammed already working on the ISP environment. They are using the perimeter on the FortiGate. Just you wanted to bring a brand new firewall to monitor his WAN traffic rather on the branch office traffic. So how do you do that? Where do you deploy the firewall? And what firewall you are going to consider, which model you have to go it. Until unless you have the understanding and behavior of the firewall and deployment methods of the firewall, how do you deploy this firewall, you'll not be able to do that. So we will be covering all the topics in the 14 training. And you will be having complete hands-on, as I said. So we'll be covering all these topics. So we'll start with the basic understanding of the diagrams first. We'll be let me open a PPT, not a PPT. Let me open a Paint so that everybody. As I said, I'll use more Paint. Uh, don't worry, you'll be getting the uh, recorded sessions. I believe you can connect with the uh,
Yes,
Gaurav.
they're getting the recorded session.
Yeah, you can give me a minute. I'll use my pen. I'm more comfortable in that. Give me a minute. Where is this Paint? Okay. I'm sorry. Sharing the screen. What is this? Yeah. Okay, able to see my Paint, right? Okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
for example, you have a network. This is your data center. Okay, this is your DC. You have within the data center, you have lot of devices. You have core services. Uh, Core services, if I say Active Directory, your Exchange, your storage, your all database, everything lies under your data centers, all that. And you have your branch offices, and these branch offices will consume the services of the data centers. Obviously, this is what the design everywhere. And there are some services which are in the cloud. Now we will take this kind of situations, and in this situation, where will you introduce the firewall to monitor all this traffic and deploy a firewall, and where do I deploy, and if I bring a device, what kind of device I should be bringing in, what device, which means the capacity of the device which is suitable for the environment, and which I mean capacity management. So once I get into, once I procure the device, and where do I connect in the network. So if I bring my firewall into the network, what will happen, the effect, the impact of the users, which are probably the applications users, or probably the customers, probably your business application which is outside your data center consuming the services. How do you overcome that, and how do you utilize the services of the firewall, especially we talk about the Fortinets here. How do you do that? All that real time scenarios we'll be talking, and we'll go with some kind of network diagrams during the training, and we'll follow the diagram. You, anybody can give the diagram, you can tell, we'll draw the diagram, we'll build the firewall, and we will keep the firewall there, and I'll make you understand, if you keep in that area, what will happen, what and all considerations you are going to do, and all the topics we are going to learn. I hope it is very clear, right? So for example, give me a minute. So as I said, you have your data center here, you have the the internet links terminated here. Okay, so probably you will have a dual ISP, and you want to introduce, you have already the firewalls in place, you want to replace with the Fortinet to the, currently you have Cisco probably. So you have Cisco firewall, you want to replace a Cisco with the Fortinet, what and all considerations you are going to uh, take. Okay, and how, what and all you have to do, the prerequisite part, what you take the things into the consideration, how do you migrate from one portion to one vendor to another vendor, and what and all you will more focus on. Because see, for example, if you take uh, the firewall which consider your Cisco. Okay, so your Cisco, you have a Cisco ASN perimeter. Still, we have some customers Cisco on a perimeter. I'm sorry, I'm not talking about FTDs, ASS. So consider Cisco ASAs mostly work on this layer 3 and layer 4. And so when you're bringing a FortiGate as an next generation firewall, don't worry, I'll be telling you what is your next generation firewall, what is a normal firewall, everything. So when you bring your next generation firewall, where your next generation firewall will go to the deep inspection of the packet, it is not only working on these levels, it will work on level 7 to level 5 also. So it will cover all the levels which the packet transits from one level, one layer to the another layer. So what will be the impact if you introduce, and what and all considerations you have to take before you do the migration, all that we'll be going to talk, because it is not kind of we are not doing this training to cover the a content of PPT, content of the topic, but we wanted, especially I wanted to make aware of the Fortinet, make use of the features, and how do you do that, how do you introduce, and how do you work on the firewalls, and morely we'll work on troubleshooting part. Especially I'll make you aware of the packet captures, and once you capture the packet, understand, open the packet, understand the fields in the packet, and how do you understand that field, and how do you solve your problem within the environment. So I'll make you aware so that you can take good notes. And please make sure that if you are coming to the training, please make sure that you have a notes, pen and paper, and you're taking notes so that you can go back and you can apply these things in your day-to-day regular life, day-to-day regular your support or work environments. Okay, so more than that, give me a minute. Okay. And apart from it, I'll be teaching you the deployment methods. When you purchase a firewall and want to introduce a firewall, what kind of a deployment method you use it, and how do you deploy, and how do you make your environment and high availability, and the methods of high availability, and how what and all considerations when you take the high availability, because you have a data center, you have 9Ks and 7Ks within the data center, and how do you connect your links connecting to the firewalls, and how do you prepare your route tables within the LAN network, or you have existing LAN environment where your branch office is connecting via your MPLS or BGP. So how do you integrate your dynamic routing protocol into your brand new firewalls? How do you make your route modifications, route injections into the existing network route tables? And what and all considerations you will be considering? How do you do that? All the topics we'll be talking in the Fortinet Fire in this training. So as I said, so it will be completely purely on the labs and the concept wise and understanding. We will go into the concept, uh, taking an uh, uh, requirement, and with that requirement we will be going through, so that you'll be more focused on the training, and you'll be able to understand deeply what we are going to learn and what are we learning. It is not wasting of to avoid the waste of time, rather changing the slides and just covering the topics. Any questions still here? Okay, all right. So as I said, once if the time permits, okay, if the time permits within our trainings, so we will be, I'll be talking about your on-premise data centers to integrate your cloud data centers by using your Fortinet, by using your Fortinet, and solutions kind of the your users sitting at home connecting to your data centers, and the third party application vendors sitting in their offices. How do we connect to the data centers? How FortiGate? How do we create the policies? How to integrate that solutions like VPNs or all the solutions? So we'll, how do we introduce into the by using FortiGate, and how do we deploy the solution, and how do we configure it, and finally how do we troubleshoot it in case of day-to-day regular uh, support. Clear? We are going to cover all that. Having said that, we are not going to open the firewall, assign your default username and password. Let us go to the policy, let us learn the policy, let us go to the NAT, let us learn. No, we are not going to learn like that. We are going to learn in a different way, the situation and the solution, your data center, integrating the solutions to it. For example, you have a data center, you have brought your firewall, and now the business requirement, your users working from home, your application developers working, or the vendors connecting to the data center, your branch office connecting to your data center, your cloud services talking to your data center, and within the integration of your core services like Active Directory, all remaining services, talking to your Fortinet firewall, and creating your DMZs. How do you host your public internet? How do you host your internet services? I mean your business applications. For example, if you want to host some website or web services to the normal internet user, how do you bring it to the Fortinet firewall? How do you do policies? All that we'll learn like that. When you are learning like that, when that time you will go to the firewall and understand where do you do the configuration, and how do you do the configuration, how do you do the troubleshooting. That kind of training will help you, because I've been lot of trainings in Udemy. I've been lot of trainings in Plural Site. I've been several trainings in YouTube. So most of the trainings will try to cover the content of the things rather the requirement, real-time requirement in the business. So this will help you. So I hope it will really help you, because using by my experience, to be frankly, I have given a lot of solutions across US, Middle East, and UK customers, providing solutions on the on-premises and the cloud for different kind of situations. So we understand, and you and me, everybody are working in the work environment. We know our data centers, we understand the application flows. So let us bring that into this lab and understand and learn the firewall together. Clear? I think I'm clear. Any questions?
What about the LAN environment, like 40 switches, 40 AP, when connected to the 48?
See, basically 40 switch, 40 APs and all not covering in this training. Okay, but as I said, so if you want me to cover one slide or just one session for 2-3 hours to make you understand, make you aware of that, certainly we'll talk about it. Don't worry
Yeah,
about it.
the only thing is like 40
Just
links.
make aware. See, basically, to be frankly speaking, to whom I'm talking, I can't see the people. to Nirav, so to be frankly speaking, not many organizations are using this 40s, which is, to be frankly, probably 40 Wi-Fi is being used. Let me be very frank. Okay, so though the out of these 14 plus years of experience, I've been working on the many big manufacturing units like Mercedes, all that. See, uh, everywhere Cisco, Arista, and some cases HP occupied. Okay, the business across the globe.
Hello,
Very
sir.
small. I'm sorry.
Yeah, hello, sir.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Subhash here.
Subhash,
So,
please.
yeah. Subhash, sir, I'm not done CCNA. I have not done that. So, I want to join the Fortinet firewall.
Mm.
It is okay for me.
Yeah. That's what I before. I think you joined little late. No problem. See what I was telling. So first day, probably 1-2 hours, I'll make you aware what's the firewall, what's the basic networking. I'll take you, probably it may take 2 hours, 3 hours. I'll make you understanding of the packet, how the packet transit from your laptop or a desktop to the applications, or everything will cover. So, but answer to your question, I would request you to go through the YouTube videos. What is a basic networking? It probably half an hour, 1 hour videos will be there. That is enough to
Yeah,
understand your firewall.
even there are 15 hours of content which is available on YouTube networking
YouTube
channel. So you can
networkings
check
only.
it.
You can
Yeah.
go through it. Yes, you can go through it. Please go through it. Probably you can connect with Gaurav. Gaurav will give you the link. Please go through
Yeah.
it. It won't be a challenge. See, learning never be a challenge. So until unless you focus on it, okay. So don't
Okay.
worry,
Because
you will
this
be
is
able
the
to
next
learn.
generation firewall. However, there is no prerequisite, but still, are for the better knowledge and for the better understanding, it's better that somebody have a knowledge about routing switching.
Routing switching, but we will cover that as a high level. We'll cover that as Gaurav said. Kindly go through the just video. You'll certainly you'll get understanding. Don't worry about it. You'll be able to
Okay,
understand. Yep.
okay, sir. Okay,
Don't
okay.
worry.
Thank you. Thank you for both.
No problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, Nirav, so answer to your question. So as I said, so not many organization does that. So only small
The,
organization based on the budget is constrained.
the reason
If you,
I asked is
uh,
working in ISP,
your voice is very feeble, so
yeah,
little I
sorry.
feel like
The reason I asked is I'm working in ISP and they provide the
probably you might be
complete
using it.
solutions. And
Uh-huh.
we got the few customers who has got the full 40 net solution.
Understand. 40 Wi-Fi I can teach you. 40 switch. I'll go through it. No problem. We'll take one class and we'll discuss on that some 1 to 2
That's
hours.
fine. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions? You understand how are we going to have this training? We are not going to have a content based training. We are going to have a requirement based training. The basic requirement of an every organizations to deploy a firewall. Let us understand such way in that way, so that you'll more focused on what you are learning it. Because we as in working on an organization, so if I tell you go to the policy, create a policy. If I tell you go to the NAT rule and create a NAT policy, if I tell you go to the security policies, go create them. Until unless the requirement of it, if you go to the YouTube, if you go to the content, if you search Google, you will get hell number of the URLs just step by step. Until unless you don't know the requirement of it, you will not be able to understand it. So we'll go like that. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
Like
Only
nowadays, we have a like next generation firewall as well, and why we are using a proxy server, like even web filtering is there in the next generation firewall. So still we are using like proxy servers. So
good question, Mohammed. See, basically, uh, the firewalls, so initially it was introduced to the market. Okay, it was to operate on the layer 3 and layer 4. So before doing that, we were having the stateless firewalls that I'll cover. Just anyhow, we thought of coming to. Okay, so later on, going forward to compete the business, so it went to the stateful firewall. The first stateful firewall was the Checkpoint, which was in the market. Then later on, the others captured the technology and they introduced these FortiGates and Palo Altos, all that. So now the next generation came into the picture, where to reduce the cost efficiency within the network, to benefit the organization requirements, rather you are procuring two devices, you will procure one devices to accomplish all that. But still, being in the network security domain, but still, though you have FortiGate is capable of doing the web filtering and application filtering, why we use the proxies? Because dedicated box is understanding. So a dedicated proxy has the dedicated the architecture to handle the layer 7, especially layer 7 packets, and caching, and it has its own morely we use proxies because of the caching to save your bandwidth, whereas your FortiGates or any next generation firewalls will not have much caching than the proxies. Okay, so as I said, to why we choose, why the still organizations, the small organizations, or why we have to choose next generation firewall, because to save the cost, to save the power, to save your space in your data center, because the same box will give you same kind of features as a proxy is giving, not up to the same as a proxy, but it's the same kind of a proxy, a certain level of proxy, where filtering the applications, filtering application traffic and URL traffic. But the proxy has a different way. It has a caching techniques, it has a DNS resolutions, it has the other way of doing handling the traffic, but altogether the solution is the same. Yeah.
Sir, if anywhere I'm not understanding that, I'm asking in Hindi. Is it
ठीक
okay
है,
by
बोलिए.
you?
हाँ ठीक है, बोलिए, नो प्रॉब्लम, बोलिए.
नहीं नहीं, अगर सपोज किधर मेरे को समझ में नहीं आया तो मैं हिंदी में पूछ सकता हूँ ना?
हाँ पूछ सकते हैं, नो प्रॉब्लम.
Yes,
मैं
thank
आपको
you,
बता सकता हूँ, नो प्रॉब्लम,
thank you so much.
no problem. Any others, any questions? Please feel free. See, just if you talk, you will have understanding. So just simply learning, you are learning the YouTube videos since years. You can talk about your requirements. I'll tell you how it will fit for your requirement. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one question. Like, how we do like failure test in the network? For suppose like we have two firewalls. So what are the like initial steps?
Failure
Failure test, yeah, in the network. Like we
by
have to check
using the
this.
firewalls.
Correct. Yes.
By using the basically every network. So when you want to introduce a firewall to your environment, so that's what the design considerations we will go. Okay, design considerations. Okay, when you go to the design consideration, the design consider how we wanted to deploy and how you want to use this firewall solution to make sure that the services of an organizations are available by 24/7. Okay, so this is what every business ultimate goal. 24/7 services should be available for the users across the globe. That's what the business requirement. How do you achieve it? So when you have a single internet link, okay, you procure a firewall here, you deployed, and you have web servers here, and within the web servers you have web services hosting to the internet. User is connecting. Consider your internet link goes down, you'll not be able to access your servers, right? So that's the reason why when you go to the design consideration, the criticality of the application, criticality of the data center applications, we go with the high availability. These solutions will help you make sure that your services are available, fully available to the end users. If one firewall goes down, still we have, but if you have a single internet links, obviously you have single point of failure. Okay, I'm not going this area, still you have internet link, you have. So how do you answer to how do you fail back your networks, right? So we have a methods to fail back the firewalls between the devices. I'll teach you that in the session of high availability. In the high availability only, you have different methods. There are two methods, method 1, method 2, and I'll be teaching you why you would need high availability active solution or active standby solution. How do you, why you have to choose active standby, or why you have to choose active in this requirement, which one you have to choose, and make sure that your services are available 24/7. So we'll be covering that. So there are methods. You'll do the failovers back to the, you can do the, there are failover methods like how we do the routers or the switches. We have hard failovers, we have soft failovers. Okay, we basically graceful failovers. So how do we do that? We'll be covering in that, and we'll do that. We'll deploy some application, we'll send it to the internet, and we'll do the failover and see whether application reachability lost or not. That's all we'll test in the labs. I'll be teaching you how do you do that.
Yeah, like suppose here, like we have a two transport means MPLS and lease line both, and if we have a main and backup. For suppose MPLS is going to down, lease line is working, then how it will work? Because
basically in the routers, what we do is we do the IP monitoring. So here in the FortiGate firewall also we have a methods by using the route tables, by using the route tables, or by we have a configurations like configuring dual ISPs. Okay, on the firewalls, we'll cover that configurations. I'll cover it at the time of high availability. So if one consider your MPLS link down, you have a leasing line, right? Still people are using leasing lines.
that is like ADSL, yeah.
Okay, still using. So okay, so the firewall is capable enough to monitor this device or the interface of it. If that is not reachable, it automatically forward the traffic to this. So we have configuration, we can do that. Don't worry. Firewall is capable enough that to do that. Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions, please? Does the age
Yes,
matters?
I have one question. It's just like the question, or you can say suggestion.
Yeah.
So I already worked on the Cisco Firepower, next generation firewall. Also had some knowledge on Cisco Palo Alto. So I recently have an interview. So they're looking for someone who have the Fortinet Act.
Why?
Experience.
Because recent days, most of the organization, they are procuring the Fortinet. So that's the reason why mostly people are looking at. Yeah. Okay. They're asking you whether you have hands on a FortiGate, and
Yeah.
they're putting you questions at why the people are asking is because when you see the procurement of the FortiGate, it is lesser price than the Checkpoint and Palo Alto. Checkpoint
and Palo Alto. Okay, so I
Yeah.
was thinking about it, but so I had a 2 interview already done. So they are asking me to come again, third time interview. So they
quickly
pretty much
join.
like it.
Quickly
Yeah,
join.
Yeah,
We'll quickly
they
cover
pretty
that.
much.
So basically, that's what, if you go with the requirement based training, because we have organization requirement, when you go like that, you will be able to answer because you are correlating this training to your live environment. Rather, we are going by concept by concept. So I think you will be able to answer it. So Gaurav will be able to contact you all folks. Please contact. We'll quickly start the training. So yes, to be frankly, now see, I'll tell you. So I've been working on the customers across US, UK, and the Middle East. Okay, Middle East. So Middle East market was occupied by Cisco.
Okay.
Okay, most of the Middle East companies, they use ASA. I'm sorry, this already. Okay, they use ASA, they use Firepower, they use Source Fire for IPS, all that, and Umbrella solutions, Cisco Umbrella.
Yeah, Umbrella.
Cisco Umbrella solutions. So because the market captured, this Cisco was captured there. At the same time, now the slowly organizations are taking FortiGates. Okay, so though they use the Cisco solution on the so on the data center level, perimeter they are using the FortiGates, because rather going for a expensive firewall like a CP or Palo Alto, so they are getting the lesser price with the same kind of a features and very easy to administrate the firewall. An administrator easily can understand what is happening on the firewall, and when you deploy a policy, it is easy. It does not require any commit functions and all. It is very for administrator to take immediate decisions, all that. So that's the reason why most of the organizations going for the FortiGate. When you go to the US and all, US market, most of the customers, you see the FortiGates and Palo Altos.
Yeah.
When you see the UK markets, they go with this Checkpoint, Palo Altos. And in India also, we have so many checkpoints. More big organizations they go, because, and I'm not telling that these are bad firewalls. Number one firewall. See, we can't say any firewall is bad. It has its own capabilities. It has its own features and architecture of doing the things. Okay, but the market was captured. So if you attend probably Indian companies, mostly all India, we have the branch offices of US countries everywhere, US and UK. So they'll be checking mostly FortiGate combination with the Checkpoint, FortiGate combination with the Cisco, FortiGate combination with the Palo Alto. You see that. So the FortiGate become common everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. So my actually question is, so it's gonna be next week interview. So I'm just thinking about like, is there any pretty similarity with Cisco, like few things on FortiGate or?
Basically Cisco and FortiGate, all these also route-based firewall only. It will work on the routes. Okay. But the FortiGate is a next generation firewall. It has the Cisco, you might have worked on ASA,
Firepower.
Firepower. It
Cisco
has
solution,
Firepower. It has a license of handling the layer 7 traffic. Here the FortiGate is also kind of every FortiGate now. Every firewall is the next generation. Okay, so you will have your FMC to manage your sensors, correct?
Yes.
So here the FortiGate, the advantage of the FortiGate, you don't need a manager to manage your FortiGate, and you can standalone, you can log into your FortiGate and create the policies. And this will work on the interface level zones. There will be zones. Okay. Zones will be attached to the firewalls, and traffic will hit on your interface. Then it will check the zone. Then it goes to the policies and process it. Okay, you got it. So when it comes to the FTDs, all that, it comes to the interface. I think FTD also we have zones, internet zones.
Yes.
We are creating. So the console, when you see the FMC console, when you see the Palo Alto console is same, almost 80% is same. Okay,
yeah.
The cask this is. So when you see the console of the FortiGate is almost the kind of a similar profiles, all that. But I feel if you are working on FMC sensors, so I think FortiGate console will be easy for you, because it looks like familiar to you, because you're already seeing the same kind of console. The checkpoint looks different than this. The Palo Alto different looks than this. So it is easy way you can go to the options and you can do that. So you have a next week interview, means probably I don't know, but we will try to cover. But at the L3 level, you should need some time. Probably I would recommend you to go to some YouTube videos, possibly for now.
Or even we have a previous batch video, if in case you're comfortable, you can take it.
Yeah, please connect with the Gaurav.
Yeah, correct.
Please connect with the Gaurav.
Oh yeah, I talked to Gaurav already about that. He said he's
please go through it. Definitely, certainly it will help you. Yeah. Any other questions, anyone?
Thank you.
Hello, sir. My name is Tushar, and I want to ask you one question. That when you come to lab scenario, what exactly software we are using? We are using a live FortiGate. Means you already told me that we start from get packet open.
That's a CL. You will be logging into the virtual Palo Alto.
Virtual Palo Alto or
I'm sorry, I'm very sorry. FortiGates. You will be logging into the virtual FortiGate, and you will be SSH the FortiGate. It is like a live environment. Don't worry.
I'm talking about software. Which software? Is it the GNS3 or NGNX?
I'll tell you. So Raj, can you just stop the screen so that I'll show my screen?
Definitely. Sure. Yeah.
1 minute, guys. Let me show you now. So hope my screen is visible, correct? Hello?
Yeah, we can see.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
So this is the link which you are getting from Network Kings, and this is our own lab. And through Eve, we have through virtualization, we've done it. All the images and everything is there on this. So this is the lab which you are getting, and we have a different scenario for even for Fortinet, even for Palo Alto, for Checkpoint, all the things which we are delivering. So you can see all the topologies based on the real-time production, or I can say let's suppose if somebody have any question on any diagrams related to their own environment, we can discuss and we can create that particular topology and we'll do the configurations.
But Gaurav, why we cannot add the lab from our side? Like why there's a restriction for this?
Sorry, what?
Like why we cannot add a new lab from our side means.
So I'll tell you, a few days back, we give access to everybody. And let's suppose now you're creating a lab and you're doing your configuration. Somebody's remove all the configurations and somebody deleted all the topologies. So I have a support team 24/7. Anytime if you need any of the topology, quickly you can call them. Quickly you can drop an email. Within a 30 minutes, you'll get that particular topology in your lab.
Yeah, support team is a great, appreciated.
Yes. Because I'll tell you, I don't have any issue to give you the admin access also, but yes, I can give you for a few minutes or few hours so that you'll create the things. But yes, if in case you need for a longer time, that cannot be possible. And rest, I have a support team. They can create quickly whatever the lab you required. Because you can see whatever the configuration anybody is implementing, that doesn't mean that is applicable for everybody. If you're creating your own lab, whatever you're doing, you have to configure from the scratch to the high level, and that is for you only, not for everyone. So these are all the things that you're getting access. And if in case the training is 2.5 months or for 3 months, you'll get the access. There is no limitation, 24/7 you can access. And because we have all over the globe students, so there is no restriction that you'll access only this time or this time.
Sir, my question is again the same. If I don't want to continue with your labs and I want my individual lab into my current scenario, means my individual space, so are you helping me to solve this out? Because I used NVNG or GNS3, so it is good for you to
EVNG,
means.
yes. If you're using EVNG, we can give you the images.
Okay, okay. So it will be similar to your products as well as, right, sir?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
That's not the problem. Let's see. I'll tell you, there are some people who don't have that kind of high configuration laptop. Okay, and just for the one for the commercial training, nobody wants to take a laptop where you have a 64 GB RAM, and that laptop is more than 1 lakh or 2 lakh rupees. If somebody don't have that capacity, of course, the person can avail our lab.
Okay.
But if you have a resources, of course, we can help you with that.
Sir, my second important question is it is sufficient to learn FortiGate firewall to understand and implement other companies' firewall also? Means
Yes,
it's like Cisco?
yes.
Because
So
currently in our organization we are using FortiGate as well as a Sonic Wall firewall. So the configurations are almost same,
similar,
and the interface configuration and policies are also same. The
similar.
only the difference between they are means both using various compound like their company having, and the means uh, it is sufficient to learn FortiGate only.
Yeah, but anyhow, suggestion is, anyhow you are working on the FortiGate. First, you learn what you are working on now. Then once you are perfect in that, then yes, certainly there is no limit to learn. After that, you can
Actually,
join to other trainings also.
yes, I'm extremely sorry to interrupt you in between. Actually, I am working on Fortinet, but my work is only customer is giving us source port, destination port, source IP address, destination IP address. What exactly going to means backend, I didn't understand exactly. So I need to
Hmm.
understand more about it.
That
What?
we'll cover in during the
Yeah.
sessions, during our discussions. Yep.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that
That's
is
why
important.
yes, that's why I'm going to tell you that I am having a scenario to implement, and but I don't exactly knowledge about how exactly my FortiGate firewall works.
Yeah, that's what. When we think of it, really now, when we going through that complete training, you'll be able to understand this. Then you'll be
Okay.
able to take decision. So
Yes,
how do
yes,
I
absolutely.
deploy? How do I
Yes.
deploy? And where do I
Because
deploy?
we have means like you said before we have 40f, we have 60f, and we have 100f also. So
Mm,
I confused between, because why we are not using 100f instead of 40f. That's why I
mm.
am requesting for more
The
knowledge
hardware.
than, because hardware
Yeah.
part of.
Why you are using that hardware?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly like that, sir.
Yeah. True, true. Yeah, we'll cover that. Don't worry. We'll cover the hardware part, because basically every vendor, not only the Fortinet, every vendor they have uh, manufactured device based on the company requirement.
Mhm.
So based on the users, based on the throughput, so the hardware is defined. So when we go for the requirement of any firewall, basically the uh, initially the capacity management we will be done. So what is the current load on the data center, and what firewall should be introduced? That kind of solutions we have. We'll discuss for that during our class. Don't worry. Then you'll be able to understand. I'll take you through the hardware also.
Because into our organization now we are not using means hardware device now. We are completely solve that scenario into virtual environment, sir. That's why I'm going to
Basically,
ask.
virtual environment, physical hardware, and virtual hardware, the console, the web, the packet handling, everything is same.
Same.
There
Okay.
will not be any difference whether you purchase a hardware or a software. But there's a capacity to handle the things, so that changes. So that's where your hardware comes into the picture. That's where your licensing coming to the picture. That we'll cover. So there is a capacity for your VM also. See, basically you have your bare metal hypervisor will be there. Within the hypervisor, they would have deployed your VM, correct?
Yes, sir. Absolutely
Deploy,
right.
deployed your VM. So the NIC card of the hypervisor probably 1G, probably a 10G. So where the when you have a data center workload of more than 10G traffic, so the VM will not be able to handle the traffic. So you have to go with the
Actually,
hardware.
in that scenario, we are creating a aggregator port into firewall, sir, because it will handle more than 20G, 30G traffic.
Aggregated port on your network layer. Is that
Uh,
your hypervisor is capable enough to
Hypervisor is
handle of 20G?
yes,
So
sir.
that's what the
20G.
cap.
It's up
Mm,
to 40G, sir.
mm. So in that hypervisor only this VM hosted. There will be
Actually,
hundreds of VMs will be there, right?
hundreds of VM hosted,
It
sir.
will share the complete bandwidth of that particular interface. So
Yes,
this
yes.
the probably
So
the
we are
solution was
also
wrong.
covering. So we are also covering that part also, sir.
Yes, yes, that's what design consideration we will take there only. We'll
Okay,
talk design consideration, why we wanted to choose, why where we have to deploy the firewall, why you have to deploy there only, and
okay.
which firewall you deploy there.
Okay, because the implementation part is very important in this
Correct,
scenario.
correct.
Anybody can configure means interface, and anybody can configure ports and their traffic scenarios and incoming and outgoing ports as well as their MAC address filtering. But no one is going to tell you about what exactly solution you need to deploy into your
True, true.
organization as per
That is
your
true.
that's
True.
why this is that's why I need to ask you this question,
Yeah, yeah,
sir.
no problem. That we are going to. That's the reason why I told you we'll go with the requirement based lab.
Uh,
So then,
you have means you have lots of video to answer your question for how to deploy, but what
uh,
exactly deployment need to be happen, there is no single no
no,
single video for that,
true,
right,
true.
sir?
Yeah, true,
Yes, sir.
true. Mm,
Thank you so much, sir.
no problem.
Hi, hello.
Yeah, you might.
Sorry, uh, quick question. So actually, I am going through some interviews with the Fortinet, and I had 2 interviews already done.
Mm.
And the first one was the just test, online test. The second one was the technical interview, questioning, live interview. That was done too. And now
Mm.
third one is the network troubleshooting that I have to do online. It will be
Probably
live.
they will give you the labs, they will tell you to deploy and troubleshoot it.
Yes. So network troubleshooting, they said I will be doing that. I set up.
Mostly this kind of interviews, mostly dimension data, all these people does that, this kind of interviews.
Yeah.
Hi,
So it,
Raj. Question.
Hey, hi.
Are you able to share the training labs after this training today or
Um,
the previous
I think
days?
Gaurav?
Yeah.
Are you,
So yes, guys, you are getting a lab and everything. You'll get it after the enrollment. Yes.
And
after the enrollment? Oh,
the question after the training also, will they get the lab access, Gaurav?
Yeah, so if in case the course is for 3 months, yes, you have access for 3 months, and additionally we are giving for 10-15 days. But yes, if you want to take access for a year or more than that, we have a only lab option. You can buy out.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
that is all available.
Sorry, my question was still there. So my question is that, are we going to have some network troubleshooting to be learned within this
Yes,
program?
we are going to cover the troubleshooting part. I told you that, right? So we'll be going to the packet level. We'll open the packet. We'll read the flags of the packet. We'll understand the flow, why this packet flag was enabled, and what is happening at the firewall at the command line, and we are going to learn that.
Okay, thank you very much. Awesome.
Yep, you're welcome. Yep.
Hello. So, Raj, in continuation with his question, so I just wanted to know, like I have hands-on on FortiGate 500 and 501E. So, coming to the GUI, I'm good at it, but I just wanted to like learn more on CLI.
CLI, yeah. So most of the problem, most of the challenges is when you go to the black screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
True.
apart from that, I just also wanted to know, like SD-WAN, to what extent are we covering it?
What extent means basically we will be covering on the policies, we'll be covering on the rules, and we'll be covering on the creation of the policies, all that, and we'll understand the scenarios. That's it. Because having said that, every lab has its limitations. So what is important for the business when you introduce your SD-WAN, what and all considerations you take, and how will you prepare your topology, and how will you prepare your policy sets, and all that we'll be discussing.
And in addition to this question, I just also wanted to know, like, are we going to discuss about the fabric connectors as well, like the options of the fabric connectors?
What kind of fabric you are looking for? Any data center fabric, security fabric?
Yeah, security fabric.
We'll cover. See, basically, see within the security fabric, you have only certain devices will be working on that fabric. Okay, but not everywhere, and everywhere it is useful. But if demands, if you really required, we'll cover it. But not many organizations are using it. But sure, if you want me to cover, as said before, also somebody asked me the 40 Wi-Fi, all that. So I can teach you, but I can only tell you on the concept wise. Yeah, you can't do that on the lab. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Until unless even in the live work environments also. See, we have a big environment. Our infra was across the globe, so still we are not using it. Not many people goes to it. We'll understand the concept. The feature, we'll understand it. How do we use it? We'll do it. Yeah, I'll teach you. Don't worry.
Okay, so guys, from coming Saturday, that means from 26th onward, and it's a weekend batch, and morning 11 a.m. we are going to start this batch.
ये
And rest,
लेट हो सकता है क्लास का टाइमिंग क्योंकि यूके में will be about 6 half 6 in the morning.
weekend पे we have a very tight schedule, I can say. Even मैंने राज को, मुझे पता कैसे मनाया मैंने कि weekend पे करना, otherwise our most of the batches on the weekdays for Fortinets. So still I'll check what best I can do, but yes, 99% the timing is remain same. It's 11 only. 11
Please try because you know it's a half
So no worry. What I'll do, I'll discuss with Raj separately that
yeah, please.
we can be do it around 3 or 4 or what. I'll convey you. Nobody. You'll with Karan also. I think you're discussing with Karan.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Please.
Okay. Sure.
So what will be the time for the Indian Standard Time?
It's 11 a.m. morning, as of now.
So that's going to be around 12:30 at night on. But I got the email that it's going to be 9 o'clock in the evening in the Indian Standard Time.
9 p.m. That is a big days batch. I'm talking about the weekend.
Yes. Okay. Weekend. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So thanks, Raj, and thanks, guys. We'll continue from coming Saturday. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, bye bye.
Thanks everyone.
तो
Take care.
ये कोर्स की लिंक या वगैरह वो how
वो आप मनकरण से एक बार कंफर्म कर लो. And even I'll share the I already shared the enrollment link. You can use that link for the enrollment also.
हाँ नहीं वो तो मनकरण ने भेज दिया मुझे.
ठीक है. Thank you.
Thank you so much all.
Yeah, bye bye.